Entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Week 15 recap, guessing the spreads for week number 16, and of course, a brand new edition of Cust Eats, although, Tim, the MREs are done for the year.
I know. I'm very intrigued as to what it could be.
You're looking like Warren from Something About Mary with those headphones on.
I can't even put my hat on. It's a victory Sunday.
The second victory Sunday of the year?
It is the second victory Sunday of the year because they have 2 Thursday wins.
That is sad for Jets fans. Joining us on the line, first time on Sunday Night Live, Adam Pranica, host of The Greatest Trek and The Greatest Generation. You so rarely get to speak on matters of sports, so I'm glad you have this opportunity.
You and me both. I'm usually edited out of my own show when I talk about sports betting. So,
Are there like massive?
is that happening here?
Are there massive rants that you're going on? They're like, no, we can't have this.
Anytime I try to compare a storyline to a sports storyline, that's going to get cut. Sports betting storyline too. Yeah, that's not going to make my show.
Well, let's start where the game is just ending right now with like 14 points scored in the last 20 seconds. Tim, the soft Bills have beaten your pick for the team that would not lose another game the rest of the year.
It's a tough scene. I mean, Buffalo played great again offensively. 3 weeks in a row, their offenses looked phenomenal. And their defense made some big stops against the Lions. So all credit to them. They played great. They don't play any more good teams the rest of the way. So this is sort of the last chance we get to see Buffalo for like a month.
That's not true. You told me the Jets were great today when they were almost losing to the Jags.
The Jets have played much better the last 3 or 4 weeks. And finally, they got a win in a comeback in the fourth quarter, which was great.
Adam, what's your setup like for watching football? Are you like all red zone? Do you have multiple TVs? Because we get very insular here. Where we have 8 TVs on the wall. We can watch every single game, every single play at all times. How is your viewing experience, especially for I guess they're early games for you on the West Coast, but like if there's 5 games going on at once, 3 of them are really good. Well, what draws your attention?
I mean, I'm a red zone guy all the way, unless the Packers are on TV, and then I've got that one taking up the whole screen.
So did you get to watch much of Detroit and Buffalo?
I did, yeah. I was on the Buffalo side of the bet, so I feel pretty good about that. But I wasn't expecting a thrashing the way this game became. I mean, there's still about 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
what are they going to score 80 points in this game?
Maybe. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I still have DraftKings lineups that are like, we can move up in the standings here if and Ron Gibbs want to continue to do some work on their side of the ball. But as a Packers fan, we'll get to Sunday Night Football in a bit. The Lions at the end of this week, should Minnesota win on Monday night, and obviously the Eagles, I don't know if that game's officially over yet, but they're going to beat Pittsburgh here. Yeah, there's 3 minutes left. They're up by 2 scores. That there's a chance that Detroit ends up as the 5 seed after being like the front-running number 1 team all year. What do you make of the Lions?
I mean, as a Packers fan, I respect and fear the Lions. I thought they laid the wood on the Packers fairly recently, and I would be shocked if they dropped to the 5 seed. Honestly, I still feel like positionally they're in a great spot. The rest of their schedule, I think, seems beatable. I mean, Green Bay's got a lot of work to do. Minnesota's got a lot of work to do to catch them in the division. So, I don't know. I would be shocked if they fell from their perch.
Would you be shocked?
At this point, since they'll have the same record and they get to play each other in the last game of the season, I can no longer say I'd be shocked. I mean, I'd be surprised a little bit because Detroit was such a front-running team, but given who they've got San Francisco left on the schedule, Detroit does, and they've got Minnesota. I mean, it's no walk in the park. Like, they're going to have to work for it, that's for sure. And with Philadelphia, Philly has Washington next week, but Philly's schedule sets up quite favorably that they could go ahead and steal the 1 spot and at least throw Detroit into the first weekend.
And how would you think this affects Detroit for the rest of the year? Like, if all of a sudden, I guess if Philly ends up with the 1 seed, then they'll have to go outdoors. And I know that they've been good outdoors this season, but
then played once or twice, so like we really don't know what they'll be like.
I mean, outdoors. If you were Detroit, would you rather play indoors or outdoors?
Indoors, 1,000,000 times out of 100. Like, I think it actually is a really positive effect for Philly and a negative one for Detroit should the title game be played in Philadelphia.
Let's talk about Philly. I assume if you were watching a lot of Bills and Lions, Adam, that you probably didn't catch too much of Steelers-Eagles, which was a very boring game.
I had the third leg of a parlay going, and sadly, it was an underdog parlay, and I had Pittsburgh in it, and that seemed dead throughout. So I was paying attention to that for that reason, but I didn't really have a lot of hope about Pittsburgh winning that game.
I don't even know what to make of it. Like, we saw Philly last week. They looked horrible against Carolina. They should have lost. Leggett drops the touchdown. And now this week, the defense shows back up, and the Steelers can't move. The Steelers had the opportunity to have the ball, inside the 30 back-to-back drives and had one positive yard and kicked a field goal?
Yeah, I mean, like, Philly obviously woke up from their terrible performance last week against the Panthers, and I thought the Steelers were flat. It's a day where the NFC's best had the AFC's best number. That's for sure.
What do you mean?
Do we trust Russell Wilson?
No.
Going forward?
No. That's
yeah.
You've probably seen so for people who don't know, Adam is a Packers fan who lived in Seattle all of these years. So you have a lot of Russell Wilson experience. Do you believe in Russell Wilson?
Not at all. Absolutely not. I'm not getting faked out by this team. I respect the Steelers, but not so much Russell Wilson as an opponent.
The Lions just scored another touchdown.
As did Cortland Sutton.
Oh, there you go. Your fantasy team is still alive. Not the 0-14 team, the one that actually made the playoffs. By the way, you just said that the class of the NFC beat the crap.
Well, not the Lions, Bills.
Not the team that you called the best team in the NFC?
No.
Who still might win this game somehow. Who knows? 8 minutes left. 45-35. It was a Jameer Gibbs rushing touchdown.
Another one?
He has a receiving and
now I'm in real trouble.
That's not positive for you?
Well, that's 80 points, so that's the second highest scoring game of the year. Last week was 44-42, so.
Are 100 points in play?
How much time is left?
8 minutes.
Yes, I guess it is.
if no one is playing defense in this game.
I have to say the team I was most impressed by today
Tampa?
Was Tampa Bay. Bar none, Tampa Bay. That was a spot where it could have gone either way. They were underdogs at what has been a pretty formidable Chargers defense and team, and they just took them apart. It's like, oh boy, like Tampa has been hitting their stride, and you were on it before most people, are hitting their stride in the second half of the season, and would not be a team that I would be desirous to play if I were the Minnesotas or Green Bays of the world in round one.
Well, and when you go and take a look at, they're going to improve to 8-6 right now. So we'll see how the Seahawks, the Rams, and I guess the Cardinals end up with the win over the Patriots. There's going to be real jockeying for that 3 seed now between Tampa and whoever the AFC West winner is. Like, if Seattle loses tonight and drops to 8-6, like, it's a complete crapshoot, because you don't want to, like, if there's any chance that the Lions drop to 5, you really don't want to be the 4 seed.
I wouldn't think so. No, not at all.
And I guess for you, Adam, if the Packers seem pretty locked into the 6 right now. If they win one more game, if they win tonight, they get to 10-4. They're probably done in the division. They probably stay behind the Vikings.
Yeah.
This is a great scenario for them. They get to go to Seattle or the Rams or the Cardinals or play the Buccaneers or Falcons in the first round.
Pat, when is going to Seattle as a Packers team ever a good scenario? Like over the last 20 years even.
Hey,
I hate this scenario for them. Spooky things happen in Seattle when the Packers go there.
Okay, what if it's Arizona then?
I mean, I guess the most recent haunting of a Packers playoff team was that Arizona Green Bay shootout that Aaron Rodgers got into a couple years ago, right? Like, that was the last gut punch loss that they took to a team they should have won. I mean, I feel like that place is haunted too.
Oh, I remember I think it was 2010. There was a Packer. It was the Jeff Janis double Hail Mary game that they got. That
wasn't 2010. In 2010, the Packers and Cardinals played in a playoff game where Rodgers basically kicked the ball in the air and it was a pick 6 to lose the game in overtime. And
that was like 45-35.
Yeah. And then 3 or 4 years later, Janis had the 2 Hail Marys, but Larry Fitzgerald in overtime had like 80 yards receiving and won the game for them. So, there's been a couple of bad losses in Arizona. So, really, the Rams is the best you can hope for, because the Packers have beaten the Rams a few times in the playoffs in recent vintage. So, you want to go to LA.
So
I only remember the losses though, Tim. Like, I remember the 6 interception game in the playoffs that Favre threw that was like 15 years ago also, to blow that run.
Yeah.
So
What do you, let me ask you.
hauntings are everywhere.
Well, let's get to the Sunday Night Football game then. We don't usually do this so early, but who's not scoring the first touchdown, Tim?
Romeo Doubs.
Okay, there we go. Kid Romeo back from his concussion. You don't think he's going to have the dizzies and he won't be another one of the long line of people today who dropped the ball before the end zone?
I mean, had there not been a no-score game on Thursday, I might have even picked that for tonight because I think it's going to be a very low-scoring tight game. 13-10, 16-13 type of ball game.
And Adam, you had a chance to go to this game, and I asked you, December in Seattle outdoors, not so much a time?
No, I was in the pool today in LA. You can, thanks but no thanks for the invitation up to Seattle.
Well, all the more reason you'd want to see Green Bay go to LA for the playoffs. You can go to the game.
That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've got some real trauma as a Packers fan over the years. I was definitely not going to go to Seattle for this game, but in the playoffs I definitely would have turned it down. I think I'm safer watching Packers playoff games at home. I just don't want to have that kind of feeling out in public.
The Packers are 3-point favorites in this game tonight. Do you like them tonight?
I'm seeing them at 2.5, and 2.5 is one of those spreads that gives me the willies. If this is a no bet for me, but if I had to bet it, I would bet the Packers in this situation. I just think their running game is excellent, and I think that's something that they can lean on in a low-scoring game like Tim is describing.
Do you believe in Jordan Love in the playoffs or for the rest of the season? Like, is he the guy? Because Tim has serious doubts about Green Bay.
I like him as much as a Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
If it tells you anything, like I think he's in the middle class of playoff teams out of the NFC.
Yeah, I mean Baker looked good again today.
Like he and Darnold, I think, are like next to each other.
I don't know
in terms of
about
dependability this season, in terms of playoff game.
Well, okay, we had this conversation earlier because Allen's continuing to put up all these big numbers. That if you just, basically Men in Blacked every single GM, wipe their memory clean, and all they can know is just they don't know what association players had with what team, and you had a fantasy draft. All the teams got thrown out, and all 32 GMs got to make their number one pick for any player in football to start their team with. Does anyone not take Patrick Mahomes?
We all take Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know.
what I
I think
told
there are
you.
some teams that would take Josh Allen.
I don't think
I
they
do.
would.
I don't think
Josh
they
Allen
should.
would take
I don't
Josh
think they
Allen.
should. But I think there's 2 or 3 teams that would say, actually, I think Josh Allen's best football is now and ahead of him, and would take him. I do. I wouldn't agree with it, but
Well, we need to get something going on the go here. Oh, they took the underdog prop off the board. There was a prop of Dontavian Wicks lower than 4.5 targets in this game. And I was all over it, but now it's been stripped off the board. I think that everyone ended up going all over it. Is there a player? I mean, you like Jacobs in this game then, Adam?
I do, yeah. And given the distribution to all these wide receivers in Green Bay, I love the under on that, Pat.
Yeah, it's not coming in now. They took it off the board.
Yeah.
I think too many people got down on it. So we'll go 78.5 rushing yards higher for Josh Jacobs. Tim, you get off your phone and you tell me who on Seattle we're taking here. Higher or lower on underdog?
over on Jackson Smith-Njigba.
64.5
Yeah,
or 5.5
over on him.
receptions.
Over on his yardage.
Okay, so we're going to go higher Jacobs. So in a game that you just said is going to be super low scoring, we're going with 2 hires?
Those aren't huge numbers, though. Like, if he got 70 yards receiving, I don't know. Jackson Smith-Njigba seems like the guy that Gino is going to in some big spots. I could see him with like 7 for 70 today.
Okay, so the official play for this evening's game on Underdog, and you can play this in California, Adam. You can get in there. Use code Mayo. You get yourself a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. You unlock a Jordan Love free pick for tonight to throw onto Josh Jacobs, higher rushing yards, Jackson Smith-Njigba, higher receiving yards, and then you throw on the luck free pick, you get 6 times your money. But for me, I can only do 2 because I've already used code Mayo to sign up, so I don't get those free picks anymore. That's the route that we're going to take. And Romeo Doubs, not a first touchdown. Money to be made on this game tonight. Mahomes is not as hurt as apparently it seems. Andy Reid says that he could have come back into the game had it meant anything. Adam, do you worry about we've been going on about this for weeks. Like, do you worry about the Chiefs? Do you not worry about the Chiefs? Are they going to click it into gear? Now Mahomes is banged up. Like, do you see them losing? Like, they go was it Texans, Steelers, Broncos to end the year. Like, could they drop 2 of those games?
I mean, absolutely if Carson Wentz is involved, right?
Yeah, I don't think that he's gonna be though.
He might be involved in the last game if they don't need it.
But I mean, okay.
Would you start a hobbled Patrick Mahomes in games that, I mean, have meaning, but are not necessary to making a deep playoff run?
Particularly if, let's say, he does get banged up a little bit again on Saturday. Are you really going to put him out 4 days later on Christmas Day when he's really compromised? When you don't absolutely got to have it? I think you got to err on the side of caution and say, we're just going to take our chances. You got to take the long break here. I know the NFL and Netflix wants Patrick
That's
Mahomes
what I'm saying.
on.
Like, dude, maybe
I
the
understand
NFL
that.
makes the call like, hey, Pat, why don't you sit down this week to make sure that you're playing on Christmas
But I
Day?
think the Chiefs have enough equity with the league to say, look, would you rather us play in this game and be great, or would you like to see Patrick play in January and February? Those are your choices. I think they would choose the latter.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on
That game can't be flexed, right?
No, it can't
Too late
be.
to do that. Yeah.
No. They both have to. They play Saturday so that they can play the following Wednesday on Christmas Day.
Dennis Rodman in the chat says that the Chiefs are cooked. I would not bet on that they're cooked.
They're cooked. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl right now? I mean, no, only because I think that there's teams just as good. The way they've been playing this year, I really feel like sooner or later they're going to get got. The way they've been playing, trying to thread that needle week after week, sooner or later, it's going to go badly for them. But I mean, maybe it won't. Maybe they'll be fine. Like they still have like a 15 to 20% chance, probably, which is as good as anybody else's.
Their Super Bowl odds right now are 5-1. The Bills are now currently
20%. That's about right.
I don't see how you can make the Bills the Super Bowl favorite when they're not going to get the first round bye. That just seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing would be to say, look, they played each other this year and Buffalo beat them, but that was one game.
Yeah, like if you put the Bills and Lions on a neutral site in the Super Bowl 3 weeks from now, are the Lions favored? Is it a pick 'em?
It's probably a pick 'em, maybe. But see, this game here will feed a little bit into that, so maybe it would be Buffalo by a point. But like the Lions would be favored against the Chiefs on a neutral field. Right now, indoors, I think the Lions would be a 1.5 points.
What if it was outdoors?
Well, it won't be.
No, I know, but what if it was outdoors?
Then it's probably a straight up pick 'em.
Tampa Bay, let's get back to them for a second. Because here's what we're looking at in terms of Tampa Bay wins so far this season. Their wins have come against the Commanders. We'll
Playoff
talk
team.
about them in a second.
But that's a playoff team win.
The Lions,
Playoff win.
the Eagles,
Playoff win.
the Saints,
No.
the Giants and Panthers, and Raiders, and now they beat the Chargers. They beat 4 playoff teams, and they went to the wire with the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Their resume is strong. I would not be relishing the opportunity to play them in the playoffs.
And you'd have to go to Tampa Bay
the
as it
first
stands
round.
right now. Like, listen, Tampa Bay can still blow this game. They got Cowboys, Panthers,
Your best
Saints.
hope is that you got Baker Mayfield on the other side, and he can ruin any game that he's in.
When was the last time he actually did that?
He was trying today early.
Then he threw 4 touchdowns.
But then he threw 4 touchdowns. I think that Tampa team there'll be value on them getting points whomever they play in the first round.
Yeah, it'd be the Packers or Vikings or Lions. It's one of those teams, depending on how the positioning ends up coming down.
They will be a very popular underdog if they play Minnesota.
They probably
very
should.
popular.
They
underdog.
probably should be. Like, okay, so I take a lot of heat at them from Vikings fans that I just don't believe that they're going to do anything. Like, yeah, great, be the 1 seed. You're going to be the 1 seed that loses in the second round to whoever plays you. But you've seen a lot of Minnesota up close. Like, I get that they're good, but like, are you actually scared of them?
I'm really not. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the coach and the scheme and a lot of the position players, but like Sam Darnold, it's hard to get excited about that guy as a quarterback. I mean, and it's hard to be afraid of him, especially. I don't know. I mean, we've seen a lot of great NFL teams cruise through the regular season and then eat it in the playoffs. And the Vikings just have that kind of shape to them, I think. Like, really good regular season team. I don't know if I like him against any NFC playoff team.
I'm kind of with you, but in the weird other way, like this team has nothing to do with the team of 2 years ago. And I've never made that point, but that's how people feel like when you talk about the Vikings. Like, oh, it's no different than the 15-1 team that should have won the Super Bowl, and then they just lost because Gary Anderson missed the field
At
goal.
11-2, I think it would be hilarious if they end up being the 1 seed.
They might end up being
Hilarious if they'd be the 1 seed.
They're 14-1. So like Vegas isn't believing in them either. 14-1 to win the Super
But
Bowl.
there's value on that because they're going to be tied for the first seed overall after this week.
with a chance to take the
with
number one
a chance
seed.
to at least leap over Detroit. I don't know what their tiebreaker situation with Philadelphia is. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look at that.
I don't think they've played.
No, so whoever had the stronger NFC conference record. I don't know who that would be.
Who did the Eagles lose to? It was weeks like 2 and 3, wasn't it?
Who did? Yeah, Philly
They
lost.
lost to
early.
Atlanta. I remember that on
Yes,
the Monday night game.
they did.
When Sirianni was going to be fired.
But
And
like,
they lost to the Buccaneers.
Okay.
That we just went over. So they're bad against the NFC South, apparently.
and Minnesota has 2 losses in conference too, I think, right? They lost to the Lions and
the Rams.
the Rams. So I guess then it would come down to strength of schedule, I guess.
Well, I guess the Lions would only have one conference loss because they just lost to the Bills.
Yeah, that's true too. But I mean, this is a
Between
circumstance where Minnesota were to beat Detroit, and it's just them and Philly. I guess it would be strength of schedule would be the next tiebreak.
Worried about the Chargers?
A little bit. I mean, what I'm worried about was the defense. Like the offense is challenged because they don't have the elite playmakers. So they can never get into a game that's going to be played in the 30s, I think, and have a legit shot to win. Their best opportunity is to sort of strangle you and beat you 20-17. And that defense didn't show up today. But like they have shown up in several other games. So a little nervous. This is like the worst way that the Chargers can play. But it's one game, and they are well coached. So, we'll see coming off a short week in a very important game against Denver how they do. Because should they lose and get their 7th loss, that brings a Bengals and Dolphins team that have 8 losses into play if they take care of business.
So, Adam, I don't know if it popped up because it was when we were just about to come in here. Did you see the pick 6 in the Denver game? Where they jumped the route back to the quarterback?
Incredible. You hardly ever see that kind of trick play get blown up in that specific way.
Is the guy that it's like, dude, Doolin's going to pass it back. Like, what if there's going to be just out of nowhere some guy from the side? I've never seen it happen.
No, it's like Van Ginkel has done that a couple times this year on like regular screen routes. But like on that type of play, I've never seen that before.
How about the Marshawn Lynch celebration on his way to the end zone? That was fun.
Backwards.
He got flagged for it, but I rarely ever see that.
Well, I mean, you see it from Marshawn Lynch. You weren't there for that game, were you?
No, I wasn't. No, I was in Vegas for the Beast Quake.
Could you hear it from Vegas?
Yeah, you could. It was pretty spectacular.
So, did you say you were at the Fail Mary game?
I was.
Oh.
Yeah. And shockingly, not the worst Packers sports experience I've ever had in person.
Were you at the NFC Championship game?
I sure was.
Oh, that was the worst one. The failed onside kick after the fake field goal had turned into a touchdown?
A buddy of mine with great season tickets took me to that game, knowing how important it would be for me to be there. And he wanted to leave at the end of the 3rd quarter. Things were looking great at that point, and I said, "Don't you dare!" Like wanting to rub his face in it. I was like, "You don't leave a game of this magnitude before it's over. You wait it out. Like stick it out with me." And something about that conjured the witchcraft. It was so awful in that 4th quarter. That onside kick. I don't know if I've ever been the same as a sports fan. Like, I don't know if I've ever loved a Packers team as much as I did before that game. Like, something broke in me when that happened, and I've never been the same.
So, Tim is going through the full Aaron Rodgers experience right now. Now, obviously, you've had a lot of Aaron Rodgers experience. Can you talk Tim off the ledge? Because he has refused to blame any of the Jets' failings on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably really happy that Tim feels that way. I think that's the way he prefers it.
I mean, I think everybody is letting him down. I do. I've gone through this before. How many games this year they lost after he gave them a lead, where the defense gave up a touchdown late to lose, or the special teams missed a field goal? Happened again last week. He's played well. He looked like he's finally like 100% back from his injury totally the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's running more. He's moving more. I'll take this Aaron Rodgers. He's the last month. I'll take him next year on a 1-year deal, which is essentially what he's got, over the wasteland of other options that I would have at quarterback. Like, I think he is, if he continues to play this way the last 3 games of the year, I think he's earned a chance to come back and play.
Now, Adam, were you in an abusive relationship with Aaron Rodgers as well toward the end of his tenure with Green Bay?
I absolutely was. It was awful to see a quarterback who have his play just sort of fly off of a cliff and then be so petulant about it toward the end. Like I was relieved when he went to the Jets. Not my problem anymore. Not my responsibility to care about what he says in any press conference or to the press. Like it was such a relief. I'm so much happier for him not on my favorite team anymore. Good riddance. He's your problem, up to him.
Yeah, well, look, this last year was a complete write-off.
Oh, was it? I heard they won the theoretical Super Bowl.
They played great without a quarterback last year. This year, everything has gone wrong. All except for today, where they finally won a coin flip game.
Beat the Jags.
But before, like they had lost, as we saw the number, they had lost 6 games with fourth quarter leads or something this year. Like
funny that you know
who
if
gives
that,
up
was,
leads?
if that was
Defenses.
any other team, you would blame the quarterback.
He
But
does
on your team, no, couldn't be a problem.
like he hasn't played quite to the level that I'd want throughout the year, but it's not his fault. It's the defense's fault who have made those mistakes and special teams. I want him back. I still think we can't do any better.
I got some Jets notes for you here. As I told you before, Davante Adams had 135 receiving yards in the final 4 minutes of the game, the most by any player in a game this century in the final 4 minutes of the game. But the Jets have 3 things, and I've noticed this every week. So here are the 3 things the Jets do every single week. They try the sideline pass, go route to Garrett Wilson 5 times, which is never complete. And then they pass interfere with Sauce Gardner all the way down the field.
Though he made a nice pick to win the game.
That's great. He had, 3 pass interferences today?
Whatever.
And they prevent people from getting to the line of scrimmage to cause a delay of
They
game.
are so awful at getting the snap off on time. So
Well, no, I'm talking
awful.
about in the first half when the Jags were trying to spike the ball.
Oh, yeah,
and the Jets guy tackled him when he was running back to the line.
They're very poorly coached. I really think that this team, this roster, adding a decent top 10 pick, which they'll have, and a coaching staff that's somewhat competent, like they're every bit as good as anybody else in that division.
So someone in the
Do you have any faith that they will be able to bring in a competent
No.
head coach?
I don't know why I would believe that. They've not proven themselves capable of that. But they fired their coach earlier than anybody to take the opportunity to bring in somebody smart. There are competent game manager, general manager types out there who I would love to have. And if they hire the right person, it can really work.
I'm telling you, Antonio Pierce might be available for the Jets to bring in. He's a real player's coach. He might beat up Aaron Rodgers.
No,
in the
what would
locker room.
happen is that Antonio Pierce would be so happy to have that job. Aaron would so run that team. You think he's running it now. It would be the Aaron Rodgerses. He wouldn't even look to the sideline to see whether he should go for it on 4th down because it's ultimately he's deciding what to do. He'd call every play at the line. There would be no offensive coordinator giving him plays. He's just going to call them.
That'd be true snap football.
Cody in the chat says the Jags defensive coordinator had a middle linebacker covering Davante Adams at
Not
the end
smart.
of the game because they understand the tanking assignment.
If Adams is happy to be back, I think he is. Wilson is back. They draft another offensive lineman in the top 10. Like, I don't know. This team's got a lot of defensive talent.
Oh, yeah. They got lit up by Mac Jones today.
They have the talent, but they're poorly coached. That's what I've concluded. That defense has missed Saleh, obviously. Saleh was doing a good job defensively to begin with. They need someone in there who's a really smart defensive coach who can fix their problems.
Adam, I think Sal is on the Packers now, part of their coaching staff.
Yeah, he's a consultant, and we'll see if that does any good tonight in Seattle. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. I know he's in the building week to week
I
because
think
he and LaFleur are friendly.
I think that they just brought him back for like Aaron Rodgers stories.
Maybe. I mean, same way that like Vrabel is walking the sidelines in Cleveland. Like, he's not really doing much.
And as we found out today, Tom Moore is on the sidelines for Tampa Bay, who is 86 years old.
Shocking. I saw him on the screen. I was like, that can't be. Tom Moore was old in 2003 when he was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator. There's no way 21 years. Sure enough, it was him. I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable.
Do you think he has better mobility than you?
No, I don't.
You know what? I might agree.
Thank you.
Might agree with that one. I'm not
Thank
sure. And Thomas has a quote from you in the chat as well. So Thomas says, quote from you, if Jameis Winston was playing for my team, we'd have 300% more wins. We also cannot improve on Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't think we can improve on Aaron Rodgers.
But if you had Jameis, you said
this year it would have been helpful. Yes, it would have been.
Jameis is available next year.
Yeah. Anyway, I think
Maybe don't want Jameis?
Given the amount of money they have to pay Rodgers anyway, and given that I don't know how much better we're going to get at quarterback, and Rodgers is looking better and better every week off his injury, I guess, I don't blame him. It's not his fault. Let's just run it back one more time and see what happens. Worst case scenario, he's gone at the end of next year anyway.
Oh, the Lions have the ball. It's 48-35 now.
How much time is left?
40 seconds.
Okay.
So it's going to be difficult to get there for them right now. Big win for the Bills. I'm happy for you, Paul.
Yeah, that's great.
Congratulations on a big out-of-conference win to stay alive in that race for the 1 seed. But Pittsburgh losing is huge for you.
And you don't have to play that weird Saturday, Wednesday weird doubleheader that all the other best AFC teams do. So Buffalo was saved from that.
You seem to be somewhat triggered about
I
that.
just don't like the fact that the AFC has to have Baltimore, the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Ravens play all of them 4 games games within 4 days of each other, and someone like Buffalo gets to skate. I don't like that. That's not right.
Well, I think we're at the midway point of the show, which means it's time to pay some bills around here. And it's not from DuVry College. You may already have the stills to pay the bills, even if you're just sitting on your couch texting anyway. But now I need to tell you about a few things that you can purchase for the holiday season, which will help out this show right now. The holidays are here, and this year, I'm not stressing about what to wear, especially around the house, because I'll be wearing my Doers. These are the most comfortable pants that I own. They make me look good, and they're so comfortable. I wear them at work, I wear them around the house, I wear them when I'm out doing things, because Doers denim and lifestyle apparel is built for doing. And I can really tell the difference right now, because I've been switching in between jeans and I wear my Doers. There's a lot of temperature fluctuation going on right now at this time of the year. And the high quality temperature regulating fabrics, they keep me warm, but at the same time, I don't get overheated. So that's really where you want to go. And Doer has styles for everyone. They don't chase trends. There are pieces you can wear all year round. Trust me, I know you'll love your Doers as much as I do. Check out Doers flagship stores in LA or Denver, or shop online at shopdoer.com/PME. Right now, my listeners get 20% off your first purchase when you use my exclusive URL, shopdoer.com/PME. This is such a great deal. Don't wait to get 20% off. Go now, shopdoer.com/PME. Introducing to you the TGL presented by SoFi Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN+. This is a simulator plus real chipping, real grass, and real green league featuring some of the PGA Tour's biggest players like Tiger and Rory and Xander. Only 2-hour matches inside of a stadium, and has other sporting elements like timeouts, refs, and overtime. You tee off from real grass into a screen. You might end up in the rough, or sand, real sand, and have to play it back into the screen out of there. After that, they use the technology to drop it by a real green side area plus a real putting surface, getting everyone involved in the contest. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. To learn more, visit tglgolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf. For 11 months of the year, staying motivated is not a problem for me. Then December hits, the holidays are around, I'm out of my normal routine, and it becomes a struggle to stay motivated and keeping myself laser focused on work and health and getting exercise in every single day, just because everything's so out of whack with my schedule being thrown off. The one thing that I've been doing to make sure that I stay on the right path every single day is waking up and drinking my AG1. I get my essentials for nutrients and supplements every single day, and it just makes me feel so good. It makes me motivated to continue to stay focused on what I need to accomplish every single day, no matter how out of the regular routine that my life starts to get. AG1 is a sponsor of the Pat Mayo Experience, so this holiday season, try AG1 for yourself or even gift it to someone special. It's the perfect time to focus on supporting your body with an easy and surprisingly delicious daily health drink. That's why I'm so excited to be partnering with them. And AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs inside your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Mayo to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/Mayo to start your new year off on a healthier note. Welcome back Tim was doing lines of AG1 during the break here, getting himself all pumped up. We put a bag of McDonald's in front of him, and we told him he wasn't allowed to look into it, and he's been like stressing out for 2.5 minutes right now. So go ahead on this edition of Cust Eats. It's the value menu at McDonald's.
Oh, small fries. Sweet chili junior chicken, of course. What else we got in here? Sweet chili junior chicken.
That should be it. Oh, you got another. You got two things. I don't want them. They're not for me. You can't eat. You bemoan the fact that they're small fries and small fries aren't enough. We get you two, and now you don't want it. Can you talk to people through your burger, please?
Yeah, so this is the junior chicken, but it's got sweet chili sauce on it.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
You got some mayo on your lip there, bud. They've got some serviettes. There you go.
You still got it in your beard.
This is really quite delicious, I have to admit.
It's shocking.
Yeah. Never thought Tim would like it.
Tim has been going on about this, Adam, how they put this on the value menu. They didn't put the double cheeseburger on the value menu, and he felt personally offended by it because who would ever want to eat this sandwich? And it turns out it's great.
Gonna have to get one. I mean, I'm good for the McRib right now. It's McRib season where I'm at.
No, McRib's not that good. We had it here back in this winter, and I had to go get it, and I just didn't care for it. And I wanted to. I really wanted to. The raw onions don't work with it at all.
That's the thing I like the most. You can put raw onions and pickles on just about anything, and I'm game.
Yeah, you're pretty anti-onion and tomato. And mushroom.
I'm okay with onions if they're caramelized. But other than that, I find raw onions are just too overpowering. I don't mind them in onion rings either, but this is actually really good.
So as long as there's frying going on with the onions, you're all in. Is there any fried food you don't like?
I'm trying to think. I've seen people like for English style breakfasts, like do like the fried Spam. I don't care for that.
Is it because you've never had it?
I've had Spam before. I don't care for it.
Yeah, have you had it fried?
Well, it's just that in a pan. I just don't care for Spam.
Because you don't like the texture or the look of it? Adam, you in on Spam?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've vacationed in Hawaii a bunch. You get Spam in a lot of things out there, and it's so good.
Really? Oh, I had a question for you about like the LA football because like there was a bunch of Bucks fans at the Chargers game today, and I know it's like a running joke between the Rams and the Chargers. There's just other people's fans at these games. Like, is there any like locally? I don't know how much you're walking around town, but do people care about football? Like the actual teams there?
It's my experience that they do. Yeah, I've got a couple of sports bars in walking distance of me, and I'm seeing Rams and Chargers gear getting worn all the time.
So, like, they're like a real thing now. Like, people are wearing Justin Herbert jerseys?
My wife has a Justin Herbert jersey.
Really?
Yeah, I'm shocked by it every time I see it.
Was it like a prank, or she just like, there's sexy old Justin Herbert. Need to get a jersey.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me in that way. But yeah, like the ladies cut football jersey is a thing, and my wife has one. I've got complicated feelings about it.
You couldn't buy her a Jordan Love one?
Oh, I didn't buy this for her. Her dad did.
Oh, is he a Chargers fan?
He's a Justin Herbert fan because he's a massive Oregon fan.
Ah, now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Scott asked me in the chat, Pat, did any of the parents leave the kids' Christmas concert? And was there an email from the school like my kids sent out advising them not to leave? So I've seen a few of these now. So we talked about it last week. I guess it's the first Christmas concert I've been to with my kids now that they're of age to be participating in Christmas concerts. You said it was fine to leave. They put out a little kid at the very beginning of the Christmas concert asking people not to leave after their kids are done.
That's terrible. Come on. I think once your children are done and you want to go home, it's okay to go home.
They also did a very savvy move. They stacked everyone in the final. They brought all the kids back out in the final performance.
That is good strategy. But anyway, unless that's happening, you don't have to feel obligated. No one else's kid cares if you're there. Your child cares if you're there. So as long as you're there for your child's event, what's the difference? Right? Your kids wouldn't care if anybody else was there but you. It could be an empty auditorium except you, and they'd be just as happy.
That's not true.
As if it was a completely full auditorium.
When you're on stage at any kind of performance, I'm here to tell you that you really can't see past the first couple of
Exactly.
rows. After that, it's just blobs. But if you're seeing people walk out of your performance, it doesn't matter if they're your parents or not. You're seeing walkouts, and that's going to feel bad at any age.
Well, you do the walkout like during the applause, and you don't do it while someone's singing. You have to do it strategically.
You're not really that nimble. No matter when you leave, people are going to see you.
You just quietly leave and go out. No one notices.
Were you the sneak king?
You just strategically sit closer towards the back.
Yeah, but I want to see my kids.
Okay. But not everyone can sit up front. Some people have to sit towards the back.
Some people do. Not me. Got to get there early and make sure that I'm there. Oh, you're going to dig in on the...
I got the splash
do you
zone,
want
sure.
it?
No,
Well, then.
I do not want it. I got to talk about Washington. I lost so much money on Washington today, Adam.
Yep,
It was
me too.
It was my theory that Jake Haener was going to play quarterback for the New Orleans
Same.
Saints. And I was like, well, he's terrible. This is going to be easy. And it's 14-0. He's god awful. We're going to half, and we're feeling pretty good about it. And then all of a sudden, Spencer Rattler comes in the game. Now, I watched Spencer Rattler earlier this year be absolute dog shit. All of a sudden, he's like shot out of a cannon. He's eluding defenders. Every time that he has an incomplete pass, Washington takes a roughing the passer penalty to extend all of these drives. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's fleet of foot. This is not what I signed up for. And then all of a sudden, on the other side of the ball, Jaden Daniels overthrows McLaurin by what? Like an inch for a touchdown? And then McLaurin drops a 70-yard touchdown. And then they missed the field goal at the end, which didn't make a difference anyway because they gave up the touchdown at the end. Washington should have won that game by 35 points, and they didn't, and it makes me very upset.
It was agonizing. I never laid all the lumber. I teased it down to 1.5, and I thought I was safe. I thought it was so safe, I stopped paying attention whatsoever. So I got hooked, which is
That's tough.
it's so hard to deal with, especially how that game came down at the end. I'm with you, Pat. Like, betting against Jake felt easy and safe. Instead, we got snake bit by Rattler. So awful.
Oh, you're going to have to make the end of the year awards now for best animal impressions between you and Cam. And you didn't cut out while you were doing yours, which really makes it all that much more impressive. The Rattler. Fuck that guy. Now I'm gonna take them next week now, thinking he's not bad and he's gonna throw 5 picks.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to.
That's how he gets you.
Oh, this guy just hopped on. He said that you look like Warren from Something About Mary. This guy's on the same page with me. Hey Tim, where's your baseball? Do you want to get to next week's games? I have more notes here. Oh, my moment of the day comes from the Jets game.
Oh, I know what this is going to be.
Oh, do you? Does it involve Mac Jones?
Yeah, it does.
So I actually wrote down the time code of this if anyone needs to go back and see it. It was at 2:37 remaining in the second quarter. The Jags are driving. They're in the red zone. And Mac Jones is scrambling out, as he's wont to do. And instead of throwing the ball away, he takes these like 2 little tiptoe steps and just walks out of bounds
Gave up like
for
8
a
yards.
loss of 7.
Yeah, just gave up 7 yards. Instead of throwing it away when he could have, they just walked out of bounds. And Jets were like, all right, sure, go ahead.
There's there was a bunch of other things too. Like the Denver Indianapolis game was like the minor league version of the Tennessee.
2 people this week let go of the ball before they crossed the plane.
And they were both in those stupid games. There was 10 turnovers in the Cincinnati.
The defensive back for the Bengals dropped the ball before he crossed the plane, Malachi Corley style, and then Jonathan Taylor, not to be outdone, did the same thing. And the Cardinals fumbled at the goal line, but it looked like the ball was sort of like knocked out. It wasn't like somebody celebrated. Just take the ball into the end zone, please. I don't understand how this can happen in professional football.
Maybe they're all coached by the Jets coaches. Denver lucked out bigly here. They played about as bad as they could play, and they got the win, and they're basically in now.
More or less.
Like they won the game they needed to win, the team that was chasing them, because there's no sadder team of Week 15 than the Miami Dolphins.
Oh,
that was a sadness fest.
That was a game that was there to be had. The Texans didn't score a point after like 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Miami couldn't do anything. They went for a touchdown after the penalty. They missed the extra point. They had Tua threw terrible after terrible interception. They did themselves in, which is a shame because I wanted the Jets to knock them out in Week 18, and they deprived me of that joy. Now they play San Francisco, I think, this coming week. Like, those are two sadness teams playing each other.
That was a sadness Thursday Night Football.
Very much so.
If there ever was one.
But don't blame Kyle Shanahan. He's the greatest coach you've ever seen. It's never his fault that his team underachieves. It's never up to. It's never because of anything he's done. He's great. He's a Hall of Famer.
So you wouldn't take Kyle Shanahan as Jets head coach? You would run to sign up for that.
I mean, I would prefer to
And
have.
Rodgers deserve each other.
No, that would not go well. That would not go well.
Okay, last thing before we get to next week's spreads, stupid Spencer Rattler. The Saints coach, Rizzy, just losing his mind on the sidelines.
Every week.
I love him. He is my favorite. He should be the Jets coach. That's real passion. Imagine him yelling at Rodgers.
That
How
would
triggered Rodgers would
that
get.
would not go well.
He'd have a second documentary coming out in a year's time about how traumatized he is about Rizzy yelling at him. He has to go to like 5 darkness
Rodgers
retreats.
was having so much fun today too. He was laughing and joking and smiling. Like, he was having fun. That made me happy.
Yeah, get rid of the stoic coaches. Get them out of here. I like the ones that show emotion like this. This is great.
Imagine if Aaron Rodgers and Dan Campbell were on a sideline together.
I think there would be a deep level of respect because he would trust Aaron to go for every fourth down.
Well, he would go for every fourth down. If you're the Commanders, you probably should go for every fourth down. 15 for 17 on fourth down.
That's an incredible statistic. Incredible. That's part of the reason they're going to make the playoffs, and they probably aren't as good as maybe one of the two of those teams that aren't going to make it.
I feel like they're a weirdly dangerous team for a game.
Eh.
Like I feel like they can catch someone on a game because
They've peaked. They're on the downside of their
they
peak.
are. But you saw today they left 20 points on the board.
They did, but
If they run hot for a game, you're like, oh my god, what has happened? There's always the team that gets.
they're going to
caught.
be a happy to be there playoff team.
Who's more happy to be there? The Broncos, the Chargers, or the Commanders?
Commanders, I think.
I don't think
Because
so.
they really, that fan base has had nothing to cheer for over a decade. And so, like, this has been a bolt from the blue and something to be excited about. So they're just going to be delighted to play a playoff game on a Saturday evening on Peacock and lose.
Oh, you know what I did forget to bring up, and I imagine I'll bring it up every single time this week. Remember when I told you that Cooper Rush was better than Bryce Young? Turns out I was right.
Today, you were right. Now,
Bryce Young was so bad.
He didn't play
It
well
was
today.
amazing.
It was the first time he's played badly in like 6 weeks. But he did play badly. Like, we can't dispute that. But I still think there's a lot of talent there. He just played badly this week.
Do you, Adam? If you're on the West Coast, I doubt you're watching much Bryce Young, but people want to blow this guy so badly, and they're treating him. It's a lot like Drake May. Drake May is the best quarterback in the league the moment the Patriots get down by 3 scores. It's amazing. He's basically Blake Bortles. Maybe he'll turn out to be better than Blake Bortles, but this is exactly what Blake Bortles would do every single week. It's just he played for the Jags, and he was like 3 years into his career, like, oh yeah, no, he's not good. But May was just sailing passes, turning it over. And then you look at Bryce Young, he got so much credit for almost winning games that the time that he actually became a favorite and had to win a game, couldn't even come close.
I mean, do you fear him when you're playing his team with him at quarterback? Like, I still don't.
No.
I won't.
Not yet.
He's frisky, but
He has to do something in order to be feared, which,
yeah. I think that's the line for me.
It's Drew in the chat says that Bryce Young has won the same amount of important NFL games as Justin Herbert in his career.
Ooh.
I don't think that.
Ouch. That's not true.
That sounds like someone's pretty salty towards Justin Herbert, or someone who really wants to suck off Bryce Young.
No, that's somebody who is hoping Jeff is listening and just wants to get him wound up.
Jeff isn't listening.
Jeff listens to the Sunday Night Show a lot.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He always DMs me and asks me for.
No,
he'll
go back and listen. He won't listen to it live. He'll go back and listen.
Well, let's start talking.
Who says no? Carolina proposes Bryce Young for Spencer Rattler. Straight up. Who says no to that?
I think Carolina would have to say no.
I don't know. You got extra years on that contract with the Rattler, and you're not paying him as much. The Saints could use Bryce Young. What a great change of scenery that would be for him.
Derek Carr's Derek Carr plays. The Saints have been much better.
Yeah. So someone now has pointed out, Adam, that you look like Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks.
Now, that bus is never not on time.
All right, so how do we want to do the Week 16 spreads? People really enjoyed when we worked as a group to guess the spreads.
Okay.
Last week. So let's do it that way and see how well we can do.
Sure.
So Paul,
Sounds
hit
fun.
us with the Week 16 spreads. I believe there are
16 games.
16 games. Oh, God. try to grind through some of these and see how we do. We'll talk it through. We'll come to a conclusion. See how we do.
Okay.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm gonna do the 2 games for the teams playing right now, just so that I don't lose the odds.
Okay.
So we'll start with Minnesota at Seattle.
Minnesota is at Seattle next week. So the Packers are, Adam, you said they're 2.5 now?
They just popped back up to 3, so that's been going back and forth all day, as far as I've seen.
You should probably get off the odds page if we're going to try to guess what these odds are going to be as a heads up. But
Right.
does the market values Minnesota is better than Green Bay?
I think it's going to be Minnesota -2.
I'm going to say 2.5. What do you think, Adam?
I think it's haunted at 2.5 for sure.
It's got to be the same, doesn't it?
I think so.
All right. Well, we got 2-1 on 2.5. What is it, Paul?
It's Minnesota 2.5.
Hey, there we go.
All right.
This is the only way we can
Team
beat you
Mo.
is by winning together.
Yes.
Next game.
All right, we got Saints at Packers.
Saints at Packers. Ooh, yikes.
I would have said Packers by 6.5.
But we're gonna get Rattler, I assume it's Rattler over Hanners. You get to see Rattler coming to your home stadium next week, Adam. That must
Maybe
be
it's
fun.
more than that. Maybe it's like
I
7.
regret everything I said about Spencer Rattler.
Well, do you ever bet on the Packers?
Oh, all the time.
So
Yeah.
what number makes you feel comfortable here? Because we'll take that and we'll up it by a few. Like if it's 7 against the Saints at home, you're betting the Packers, aren't you?
I'm laying 6.5. I don't know if I'm laying 7.
You said 6.5?
did, yeah.
I think it's 7.5, but we'll go with 6.5 because that's what the majority says.
It's 12.5.
Oh! Oh!
I mean, that's Jake Haener. That's Jake Haener's line. That's not Spencer Rattler's line,
That's got
right?
Rattler's got. There's no way they go back to Jake Haener.
Also, the difference between Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler is not 6.5 points.
It's like 25 points, as I found out earlier today.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. 12.5.
Yeah, we were way off on that one.
Poof.
Would you take the Packers at 12.5?
I would not. No, that's too many.
Kamara's out too. He hurt his groin.
Still a lot of points.
Oh.
And he made like one of the catches of the year
Did a
today
nice one.
on a pass from Cedric Wilson, of all people.
That feels like a teaser candidate.
Yeah, but even that gets you down to what, 6.5? That's what we thought the
Which was
spread
the
was.
number I wanted all along.
You have to tease
solved.
it down to get the number you wanted to begin with.
I guess they're thinking like beat down dome team with nothing to play for, going up to the frozen tundra.
I guess. That's
I
true.
can see it being bad, but 12 points is a lot of points.
A lot of points. We haven't seen a lot of double-digit spreads this year.
No, and there's one. We saw one today with Baltimore. Covered easily.
Comfortably.
And you got to see your boy, Tim Boyle. He's like a Boyle. He doesn't go away. He just pops up every single year.
So bad.
Hey, he was better than DeVito was.
He got hurt. But yes, I'm sure he was.
Paul, next game.
We have the Broncos at the Chargers.
This is the Thursday night football game.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos at Chargers. Herbert got hurt again today against Tampa and stayed in the game. Like he's maybe every season for him is just him as the Black Knight from Monty Python. Like he starts out fine and then by the end of the year he's just hobbling around, gimping around. Do you think they get the 4, 3.5, or 3 treatment here? Or does Vegas think it's closer? Is it
The game
2.5?
is where? In Denver?
It's in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct.
Chargers by 2.5?
Nope. Oh, I guess we're doing it.
It's not going to be 2.5. Do you think it's 3? I think it's 3 or 3.5, Adam.
I also think it's 3. How much faith do you have in Bo Nix? Just generally.
Not a ton after today.
Not a
He used
ton,
his
but-
bye
Yeah.
week to implement a program in his brain that made him actively worse. Because it's not like Indy's
I'm
D is
holding
great.
an offensive rookie of the year ticket for him that I think is cooked at this point.
Brian Thomas sneakily in this race.
Yeah.
I don't know what those odds.
You need to do a lot still.
He has what? It's going to almost default to going to Jaden Daniels, I think, especially if they end up if both of them make the playoffs, people are going to give Daniels more credit.
Yeah.
Then they're going to give Bo Nix. They're going to give Sean Payton the credit. They're going to give Patrick Surtain got hurt at the end of this game too, so maybe that's a factor here. Do you want to go 3 or we'll go 3?
It is 3.
There we go. We're good
Well
at
done.
this when we talk it through, except for the Packers.
Yeah.
Bowers isn't winning MVP or Rookie of the Year.
No.
Next game.
We got Saturday football. Texans at Chiefs.
Texans at Chiefs.
The line's going to be short.
The line's going to be short because Mahomes is going to be questionable, but he's probably going to play in this game. The Texans are terrible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super short.
Do you think it's less than 4?
Oh, yeah. I think it's less than 2.
It's in Kansas City? You think the
Yeah,
Texans are getting less than 2?
Chiefs by, well, say Chiefs by 2 then.
I think, I think there's enough respect on the Chiefs to give them the full 3, Adam.
Are we assuming Mahomes starts this game?
I am, yeah. I think we have. Paul, was the line a Mahomes line or a Wentz line? Put it this way.
I'd say it's a Wentz line.
Oh, then it's probably,
really?
I'll say Texans by 2. If it's a Wentz
Not
line,
bad,
I'll say
but-
the Texans have got to be favored.
Yeah, the Texans would be favored in a Wentz line.
Yeah, I'll go Texans by 2.
Or maybe it's a hedge line.
Oh, come on. Now
I'm sticking with Texans by 2. I don't
you're,
want to switch.
you're probably right to begin with. It's probably 1.5 then if they don't know.
Okay. For
I
Houston.
think with Wentz, it's even bigger. I think it's Texans by 3.
What is it, Paul?
It's 1.5.
For Houston?
Houston.
Yeah, see, that is kind of a bit of a hedge line because I think if Wentz is declared the starter, it probably is Texans by 3, 3.5.
Yeah, that's what
I think that's right.
By all accounts, it seems like Mahomes is going to be fine.
Patrick Mahomes is probably worth 6 points.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
right.
So
it would go from what I think would be
be like -3 either way, depending on whether
Chiefs
Mahomes starts.
Chiefs 2.5 to Houston -3, 3.5. Yeah. Okay.
Steelers at Ravens.
3. I refuse to say anything else.
Steelers at Ravens?
Ravens
That
by
is
3.
correct.
No, it's going to be more than that. The Pittsburgh's coming off a loss. It's 3.
Okay.
It's 3.5. It's probably like 5.5 or something.
I think it's 3.
Any leans?
I think
Adam?
Baltimore's a lot like Philadelphia in that way, and Philadelphia kind of threw them around. I think Baltimore by 6.
Adam's right.
He's bang on right.
Wow, that is a ton of points to be giving the Steelers.
And considering the Steelers always beat the Ravens,
And they're always tight games. That's silly.
like the Steelers looked really bad today.
That's
and that's playing into it. And listen, the Ravens played the Giants and put up a
yeah,
million points.
that's way too many points.
Brian Thomas, by the way, season totals right now. Where is he at? He has 54 catch. Or I don't know if this is updated yet. 54 catches for 851 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a very good year.
It's pretty good.
Very good.
And he got hurt for a
Yeah.
while too. And he plays on the Jags. I guess that's probably not enough. He'd have to put up like 1,400 yards in order to.
Yeah, look what Chase is doing. The Bengals aren't good.
You know, he's not a rookie.
No, I know, but like
Next game.
Patriots at Bills.
Oh boy. I guarantee you like the Patriots in this game.
depends on the 9. I mean, I think we're going. Do we get to 2 touchdowns?
Well, what did Arizona go off? Adam, do you know what they went off today in Arizona? I think it got to like 6 by kickoff.
That's what I saw.
So if it was 6 in Arizona, what is it in Buffalo? How many points? Buffalo, Arizona was 6 in Buffalo earlier. Is it 12?
Buffalo by 12.5 would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm good with that. 12.5.
Full 14.
Full 14.
My first gut was yeah, okay.
Is this happening? We're at the point of the year where we're getting. I think the Giants closed at 16.5 point underdogs at home today.
Yeah, I get it. I don't love the Patriots in this game.
Really?
No, it is a bit of a letdown spot, but 14 is not. If it gets above 14.5, well, then maybe you take some take back. But no, you can't even tease that game. It's just a useless game.
Paul, how are you feeling that now that Miami has been basically, they're not officially eliminated, but they're on death's door, that he's now going to start spinning towards the Bills?
He did say if they started playing like they were today, that he would have to start supporting us. And I said, "Don't you dare, please
What
don't."
I said is I'll have to start saying nice things.
And then I complimented him on the Jets win and told him like, "Go get that hat there, big guy," just to try to like change the subject. Like, last thing I need. Bills are cursed enough historically, without Tim being on them. So.
Oh, geez. So A.J. Brown got hurt late in the fourth quarter after we came on air. Patrick Surtain got hurt late in the fourth quarter. And to make more sense of that line, T.J. Watt got hurt.
How badly?
The
I wonder.
Steelers don't know yet.
Okay.
He has
All
a
right.
low ankle injury. It seems. The X-rays
A
came
low
back
ankle
negative.
compared. Oh, okay. Instead of a high ankle sprain, a low ankle sprain. Sorry.
What did you think I meant by
Like
that?
low ankle didn't make any sense. Of course, it's low. It's an ankle. But no, of course, yeah. I corrected myself mid-sentence.
Next game.
Titans at Colts.
Oh boy. Are you familiar, Adam, with betting on the Titans? Because it's never pleasant.
I try to avoid it whenever possible.
Smart.
Really.
They've covered 2 games this year, so betting on them is not usually a great feature. The Colts, what, by 6.5?
I was going to say 6.
Well, Mason Rudolph might be starting because Will Levis got benched.
Don't care. 6. Or 6.5. I'll
Six?
go with your 6.5. That's fine.
6.5.
Colts by 4.
Oh. Poor Colts.
Well, they gave their season away today.
How did that, because I was setting up the studio here. How did that happen?
Jonathan Taylor dropped a ball before, running in for a touchdown, dropped it through the
Yeah.
end zone for a touchback. They would have went up 20-7. They didn't. They traded back and forth. Then Mims had a long return. They kicked a field goal, and then some white dude scored, Adkins,
And then
they had the best pick six of the year.
Yeah, I looked at like the stats for Denver, and I'm just like, nobody has more than 30 yards. Like, how did they get 31 points? This is madness.
It
They
went
had,
sideways.
they had 31 points at the end.
I think
Jesus.
so. Yeah.
It went sideways very quickly.
Wild.
Yeah, 31-13.
All right. Next.
Next game is the Giants at the Falcons. Is it a lock line? Is it a DeVito line? Does it matter?
No.
It might be a Tim Boyle line. Do you want to venture a guess at this one, Adam?
The only sure thing in this game is that I won't be watching any part of it. I mean, will any of it be on Red Zone? I doubt it.
Bijan,
Yeah,
maybe.
Bijan might make an appearance.
Yeah, some of the Falcons players.
A really close friend of mine is a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, season ticket holder, and is
guy.
done. Just is done with this team.
Poor guy.
It's over. It's nauseating to choose this Atlanta team as a favorite, even at home. But I'm just gonna give the chalky Atlanta by 3 line.
Oh, I would have said 6.5 or 7.
Oh, I think it could be
The
like
Giants
10.
are done.
It could be like 10.
Yeah, it could be. It could be high. A lot
The Giants,
higher.
Really?
Yeah. I
That
mean,
is way too much
But
respect.
the Giants are so
Getting
bad.
warmer.
12.5.
No, it's not that much.
Falcons by 10.
You just want the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
9.5.
9.5.
All right. I see it.
That is a stay away.
I don't know.
No, you can tease them down to 2.5 on a 7-point tease.
These Daniel Jones was 8 times the quarterback that they had on the roster, as it turns out. These other guys are awful.
No, they are done winning games. It does seem.
Oh,
I
boy.
think the Ravens made them look especially bad today in a way that tends to inflate lines in the week after. That's what I'm thinking. I think this one's
Maybe.
just got too much air in it.
They did get to Lamar a few times
Yeah.
today. And if you do that to Cousins, he might just give you the ball. So that's helpful.
And I think getting the Giants out of New York a little bit, probably good for the mindset.
Maybe.
Yeah, get him on the fast track. Maybe Neighbors just burns everyone.
Yeah,
They
you'd see it.
basically, New York implements the same strategy as Bel Air Academy. And
Pass it to the
they just
man.
Pass it to the man. Hey, Neighbors, your will, we'll pass to you. That's the move. And it might work. Who knows? Next game.
Eagles at Commanders.
How big of a favorite are the Eagles here?
Not that big. 4.
Well, the Eagles were just 5.5-point favorites in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know.
And they'll be bigger favorites against Washington.
You think?
They gotta be. Pittsburgh will be favored in Washington.
I'm gonna stick
I think
with
they
my-
were earlier this year.
I'll stick with 4. I still think it's a divisional game. It's going to be tighter.
I think it's higher, Adam.
Yeah, Pat, you convinced me. I think it's 6.
Okay.
Let's go 6.
3.5.
Yeah.
Woo!
I thought so. Had to be short. It's a divisional game between 2 playoff teams. It's got to be short. In Washington.
Tight.
I don't know. I feel like Pittsburgh has more of a home field advantage than Washington.
It's just
does.
it's too tight, or so the game is too tight. You can't make a divisional
and
game
that is
like
just
that. too big.
baiting everyone to take Philly too, isn't it?
I would lean towards the Commanders. I think
Why?
the 3.5.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a 3-point game.
Okay. Paul.
Browns at Bengals.
Browns at
God.
Bengals.
Bengals by 7.5 would have been my guess.
Yeah, I think we might get. So Jameis was benched, Adam, towards the end of the game. They're bringing in DTR. I'm not sure if they're going to start him the rest of the season. They might. So this could be like a hedge line between Jameis and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Jameis was the thing that made the Browns watchable. That really makes me sad.
He's been real bad the last 2 weeks. Like horrifically
He
bad
has
the
been.
last 2 weeks. Ever since his swan song on Monday night, it has been
Ever since you said the Jets would have been 9-3 with Jameis.
he's been hideous.
Yeah, this feels like a 9 or a 10-point line. With not Jameis playing for the Browns especially.
Yeah, I don't know if they can give the Bengals that many. Like the Bengals tried to give away the spread to the Titans today.
That's why I said 7.5.
I'll say
But they score.
I'll say 9.5.
It's Bengals by 7.
Okay.
Bengals defense is so bad
Yeah, it's
that
not-
like
it's
you
not good.
can't really make them that big of a favorite.
If Tillman comes back, you have a big game.
Like, they only covered today because of defensive, returning touchdown. Like Levis basically handed them the game.
I mean, there was even a fumble that didn't count that Levis actually did hand the defender the ball, which
Yeah,
was kind
that
of
did
hilarious before he got benched. I totally forgot. The game was in Philadelphia today, not Pittsburgh. That's what fucked me up on
That's
the
also
line.
true.
That makes more sense.
Is
with the
Miles-
line now.
Is Myles Garrett going to be out for any length of time? He went down, and I don't know if he came back, right?
I don't
got
know
the-
either.
he got the eye
poke
poke
in the
of doom.
eye. I couldn't tell you if he came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Nick Chubb broke his foot, so he's done for the year. So it's going to. I mean, if Jerome Ford is available on your fantasy waiver wire, he's probably someone to pick up for next week.
I
against
have
the
a lot
Bengals.
of bucks I could spend if I have a chance.
Yeah, I think you're out.
I might be out.
Might be the move here. All right, next game.
Lions at Bears.
At Bears. Do we get put? I mean, we haven't seen the Bears play yet, so it's a short week for the Bears because they're playing on Monday night against Minnesota. They'll be at home. You get the comeback of Detroit. Detroit was a 2-point favorite at home this week. When was the last time we saw the Bears at home? Does anyone remember?
No.
Thanksgiving or no? Never mind. That was in Boston.
They were
San Francisco, didn't they?
They were at San
Oh,
Francisco.
were they?
And they
Yeah,
were
I don't remember.
4-point
The game
dogs.
is Bears who?
Lions Bears.
Lions at Bears. Lions by
Is it-
13.5.
Whoa, I don't know if it's going to be that high. Would you go higher or lower than that, Adam?
I would go lower for the same reason we were talking about the Washington-Philadelphia line. I think 9.5 feels right to me.
Yeah, I'd probably middle that. I'd just say 10.
Lions by 7.5.
7.5.
Okay.
Oh,
It's much lower than I would have thought.
They're gonna
what did they see in the Bears?
That's a freebie teaser.
sports books are going to take so much money from people in week 16.
That's such a freebie teaser.
The Eagles, the Lions.
It's the 2 days, 3 days before Christmas. Chance for people to get ready and
Oh yeah, everyone. Oh, you know what? I'll have some extra money to spend here on Christmas Eve after I cash all these teasers. So yeah, good luck with that one. Has Romeo Doubs scored the first touchdown yet? That'd be glorious.
I don't think so.
All right, few more games. Let's go.
Arizona at Carolina.
Oh, can Carolina be favored again this
no,
week and
not
win?
this week.
Man, they're good. They should be favored in every game.
don't wanna play-
They win so much,
I
and they're
still
so
feel
damn
like
good.
you don't want to lay too many points with the Cardinals, though. Still,
I mean, if it's in Carolina, it's gonna be like Cardinals by 4.
yeah, I was going to say 4.5.
That is correct.
That's good. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
That's
that's right.
That seems fair.
That's about right.
Like I'm not automatically lining up a Brinkstruck to bet on
No,
Arizona.
I don't
in
love
that
either
game.
side in that game, really.
James Conner going to go crazy in that game.
Yeah, I don't like either side there.
Smash the like while you're here. It's up to the Mayo Media Network. You can always catch the replay on the podcast feed as well. We are recording the Spread Show early this week, by the way, on Tuesday morning. So that will come out earlier on Tuesday than normal. And I'll have my interview with Michael Kim out on either Monday evening or Tuesday morning. For people who care about me talking to PGA Tour players, this is your time to hear me ask all the hard-hitting questions about which tournament has the best food setup. We'll figure it out. Paul, next game.
Rams at the New York Jumbo Jets.
Floor is yours. You said You said the Jets would be favored.
No, I don't
You
believe
said
that.
You said.
I-
You said
in
that.
jest.
Not
In
only.
jest.
Not only did you say the Jets would be favored, you said that you like them.
In jest, there's no way they'll be favored. Rams by 3 would be my guess.
Do you think that the Jets would be favored, Adam?
No.
Absolutely not. No, I'm going to go one more. Rams by 4.
I think it's like Jets by 1.
Can't be.
It's probably 2.5.
It's Rams by 3, like Tim had it.
Oh, it is Rams by 3.
Yeah.
It had to be. It makes sense.
Do you still like the Jets?
I
You
do.
like the Jets as a favorite.
I
How
do.
about them as an underdog?
I do like the Jets in that game. That's the Rams coming off the mini bye. People are starting to feel really good, particularly if Seattle loses tonight. People are really talking about the Rams, the class of that division, and Aaron Rodgers takes care of business
Do you say the Jets are better at every position than the Rams?
at many positions.
Would you say their wide receiving room is better than the Rams?
I think yes. I think Wilson and Adams
Bold.
are better
That's
than
bold.
Puka and Kupp.
Puka's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
Puka's
Puka's
good.
excellent. But last time I looked, Kupp had 0 points in a big divisional game on Thursday.
that they won
But they won.
because they're so in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, anyway.
Next game.
Jags at Raiders.
Oh, God.
The toilet bowl.
Raiders have to be favored.
Well, this is for the first pick, isn't it?
Giants are also in the mix, too.
Oh yeah, the Giants are in the.
I think the Raiders by 2.5. Make it simple. Home field advantage, 2.5.
Jacksonville by 3.
I think Jacksonville's favorite.
It's in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, I still think Jacksonville.
Yeah, but that's not a home field advantage.
No, but okay.
I'll say Jags by 1.5.
It's Raiders by 1, but it's pretty much a straight pick 'em on the money line.
Okay.
So they have no idea.
Yeah. Don't play this game.
Why? Listen, if you have a lean on this game,
Don't.
these are the games to pick.
There's no lean to be had on this
Like,
game.
listen, I lost
there is
a,
no
I
leans
lost a
available.
bunch of money on Washington, but I won a bunch of money on the Tampa Bay money line against the Chargers.
No, there's no leans to be had here. You don't need to be involved in this game.
You wouldn't want to tease Jacksonville up to 7?
No, I would
Why
not.
not?
Sounds good to anyone?
No, I would not. No, I wouldn't want to do anything with Mac Jones.
Because he almost beat the Jets today.
But he didn't.
Okay,
He runs out of bounds.
he does run out of
No,
bounds.
I want no part of this game.
All right, next game, Paul.
Teasing the Jags up to like 7 seems pretty good, to be honest.
Okay.
Raiders aren't beating anybody
Yeah,
by
okay.
a touchdown. All right, we got the
Exactly.
49ers at the Dolphins.
Oh man,
Yeah.
double sadness bowl.
Dolphins by 1.5.
He's so good.
He got it already.
Did you guys watch Tua dive head first
Yes.
on a scramble in that game today? What are we doing?
There was a couple of times where they could have absolutely. They had to like Josh Allen took a massive hit in the Detroit
Oh,
game.
he was crushed on
The
a deep
Texans
pass.
dudes had Tua lined up 2 or 3 times in that game, and they just.
Didn't hit
I
him.
don't want to kill you, man. Just like I'll tap you out of bounds.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins in that game. I think the Niners are checked out.
You don't think the Dolphins are checked out? Did you watch them today?
Yeah, both teams are kind of checked out, but I would pick the Dolphins in that game because they still have a little bit of life left in them.
Is Waddle going to be gone for a long time? He was really
it's good
hobbling toward the end of that game.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean he leaves and he comes in and leaves every game here. Oh, Josh Jacobs already has 25 rushing yards. Let's go. Packers inside the red zone. Let's
Love it.
Oh, sorry. Jared was showing me an update on Josh Allen, who had to go get some x-rays
Was it
after
like
he
to see
took
if he-
a quote-unquote hunky fall.
Oh,
what-
was it to see if he got that dog in him? And it turns out he does.
I think so. I mean, the Bills are at a point in the season now that's like, if he is hurt in any way, shape, or form,
Sit
like,
him.
sit him. Who cares?
He won't let
He
himself
won't
sit out of
let
games.
that happen. That's the problem, though.
Although this new like dimension of like tush push with Josh Allen near the goal
very
line
difficult to
is very
stop.
effective. Although it's real gangly
Josh Allen wants no part of the Bills in 2 weeks if he's not 100% because that's a bad spot for him.
against the. You mean
The Jets have injured him the last 2
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah, but now they have a Civ defense.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a get right, like feel good game going into the playoffs.
I don't want it that, but I want all the teams to be as healthy as possible and lose on their own terms. I don't want any excuses.
Okay.
You don't want any excuses, and yet you're on Team Aaron Rodgers.
Wow, it's
Amazing.
Oh, but they're not his fault.
Bucks at Cowboys.
Oh,
That's a Sunday night game.
that's the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
What is that? Also, like, is that a Futurama game or something? Like
No.
that they couldn't get Dallas out of that spot.
Because the Bucks are worthwhile.
I mean, the Cowboys might win this game. This is the game that I'm scared the most of for the Buccaneers coming in. Dallas looked good today, man.
Yeah.
Still, I think it has
This
to be.
feels like the game that Baker Mayfield should win, and somehow, like, inexplicably throws the back-breaking pick that loses it for the Bucks.
Buccaneers by 3.
See, if it's Buccaneers by 3, everyone's going to bet the Buccaneers. So I'm going to say it's like 4.5.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it's higher.
Correct.
It's 4.5?
It is 4.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't make the number where everyone's just going to line up and bet the
No,
Bucs.
I suppose.
And 4.5, I think, puts enough doubt.
Enough
into your
people will
mind.
bet Dallas blindly in every situation.
That's not true. Anyone who's betting and has lost all their money on all these, like, oh, touchdown, Green Bay.
Josh Jacobs.
Stupid Josh Jacobs.
I mean, you're teasing Dallas up
Need
to
that
10.5 in that game?
No, man. Tampa can get, like, they're explosive.
Tampa can beat teams
offensively.
by a lot of points.
They just score a lot of points. They're terrible defensively, but I don't know if. I mean, Cooper Rush had one play in the first half. It was throw to the CeeDee Lamb guy who Carolina has decided not to cover.
And
Now-
also, Dallas plays terribly at home. So, yeah, probably get stay away from that, too.
So let's go Bucks. Yeah, 27 yards rushing, 17 yards receiving on the first drive for Josh Jacobs and a touchdown.
What's the Monday night game?
What is the Monday night game?
We did it at the beginning.
No, so that's it. We're out of games.
Yeah, it was Is it Minnesota? It's one of the two teams that are playing tonight that are in it. I did it at the beginning.
All right,
'cause,
cool.
So we wouldn't
I didn't
lose
want
the
to
line.
lose the lines.
All right, cool.
Well, Adam, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, now you can go and stress out about the Packers already with a 7-0 lead.
Oh, that's such good news. I haven't been paying attention. I wanted to be totally locked in on you guys. That's great.
I appreciate that, but now you can go. You can go see if the live line's like 10 and maybe hammer the Packers at this point. Who knows?
I'm just rooting to not have my heart broken by the end of this one. So,
Well, I'll check in with you in about 3.5 hours to see how you're doing. At least on the West Coast. I remember when I lived in Mountain Time, we'd be able to watch Sunday Night Football and then go for a drink afterwards. Where I am on Atlantic Time, this thing's going to end at like 2 a.m. So there's no doing that. So if it does go poorly, you can drown out your sorrows.
can't wait. Will absolutely. I got plenty of homemade eggnog to take to the dome.
Tim, you're big on eggnog.
I love eggnog, yeah.
You're also, Adam, last thing. Tim thinks everyone likes fruitcake.
Most people. It's delicious.
Fruitcake isn't even like top 5 holiday food.
Okay, but I'm not saying it's the best. People like it, though.
No, they don't.
It's sold at every grocery store, everywhere, all the time at this time of year. It's not there as a fashion statement. It's there because people purchase it. I rest my
I
case.
can't remember the last slice of fruitcake that I enjoyed. It's always been disappointing.
It's delicious. I love it. I can't wait to go home and have a square.
With your tea at night?
Yes, I'm going to make a cup of tea, and I'm going to have a piece of fruitcake.
90 years old.
Whatever, that's what I'm going to do when I go home, and I'm going to be very happy about it.
Like, somehow, your palate got transported from the Depression era to now.
Fruitcake is delicious with all the fried fruit, dried fruit, and citrus, and that's really good. Marzipan, it's really good.
The chat is out on fruitcake.
I believe that's because they really haven't had good ones.
So you're the only person on earth who's ever had a good fruitcake.
Again, they sell them everywhere all the time. Why are they
I
there?
mean, they sell passion fruit at every grocery store. Do you think that's super popular?
Not to the degree that fruitcake is.
Yeah, it's probably about the same. Dragon for passion fruit may be more popular.
I like fruitcake. It's really good.
You can like fruitcake all you
I
want.
like it. It's good.
But you can't claim that people like it
I
when
think people
everyone
like
says
it.
they don't.
It's a
and
silent-
you just think it's like the world is...
I think
Sorry,
there's a
Aaron Rodgers.
silent-
Not everyone's against
There's
you
a
here.
silent majority that are bullied into not saying that it's good, but they believe.
We have to figure out a way to live stream this Aaron Rodgers documentary. That's going to be the move. We can do live commentary.
I'm going to be frustrated. I'm just going to be frustrated the whole
No,
time.
you won't. You'll be like, oh, it's not his fault he's being a weirdo. It's not his fault every one of his ex-girlfriends say he's the craziest person on earth. That's on them.
Whatever.
Can you let people know where to find your highly rated, award-winning podcasts?
If you love Star Trek, we've got 2 Star Trek podcasts. One's called The Greatest Generation. It's about catalog old Star Trek episodes, and we've got a show about new Star Trek, all the new streaming Star Trek that you can watch today. It's called Greatest Trek. An episode each comes out every week. We have a ton of fun with it. Lots and lots of people listen to it. Lots of people watch us do live shows around the country. It's not some little nerdy thing.
Are you sure?
The big deal, okay? I'm not just being defensive.
When is that? When's Strange New Worlds back?
No announced premiere date for that, but I'm expecting it to be like around March or April. That's the indication that I've gotten.
I mean,
but that's not official.
Out of all new Trek, I would recommend that's... I mean, people can watch Lower Decks, but some people don't like cartoons, but Strange New Worlds is excellent. Like, it's an actually good show.
Strange New Worlds is great. Lower Decks is great.
I completely agree. Lower Decks is on right now. You can check it out on Paramount Plus if you want to. So the complete Venn diagram of people who listen to The Greatest Generation and the Pat Mayo Experience. All 7 of you have had a great time here this evening. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.